Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good evening, everyone. Our first item is to announce that Horsham Township has been ranked as one of the safest places to live in Pennsylvania in 2022.
As the council's aware, we've been recognized for this in the past, and it's something that we take we're very proud of, this recognition. To be the 48th place out of over 2,500 municipalities in the Commonwealth. And I know, talking with Mr. McCouch, how when you really break it down and you look at the communities underneath of us, are very rural in nature. Some don't even have police departments, and they don't really compare to us as a suburban metropolitan community. So we're very proud of this. Our police department, as you know, is outstanding, and their community policing efforts with our community, our residents, our good families, our good businesses, everyone's part of this. Horsham Chats, everyone is part of what makes our community. Although our law enforcement and our police are number one, it's really a community effort. I always say, you always hear that saying, if you see something, hear something, say something, and our residents do, and that keeps our community safe. Our police, again, do a great job, and the criminals know. We have a good reputation with the criminals to stay out of Horsham. We have a very active and productive police department that you give the tools that they need on a daily basis to do their jobs, and that all helps. But it's a proud ranking that we receive that we should all be proud of.
Yeah, like we had talked about, I think most of the communities that were ranked higher than us were actually, most of them are under 10,000 people in their communities. So, I did the rough math, but, I think if you counted just the communities over 20,000, and we're 27,000 basically, we'd be like ranked third. So, not bad. It's not bad. So, still 48th, is the way they rank it, but I think we should be looking at the size of our community and how well we did compared to people of similar sizes.
Yes.
And we did very well. So it's something to be proud of, and I'm sure you've passed that along to our police department.
Yes. Yep.
We're good. Next is opportunity for questions and comments. Bill?
I should know the drill. Bill Gallagher, 7 Winston Circle. And I've been a resident of Horsham for over 40 years. And I've always known how great a community we have and how we have a great police department. We have a great fire department, public works, government, and government staff, and always knew it. But in recent years, I've had an opportunity to see firsthand just how great a community we have, and it doesn't happen by accident. You need a great township manager, and I really think that we have a gifted and talented township manager. I got the opportunity to see Bill Walker's professionalism, dedication, and commitment to our community, and his leadership abilities that make everyone around them better in so many ways. So I wanted to take an opportunity to say thank you as a resident of Horsham for the great work that you have done, Bill, and I just hope that you stay for a lot longer. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. That's very nice of you. Don't like getting a raise.
Thank you, Bill.
That was very nice. Thanks, Bill. Okay, next is the approval of checks.
I move to approve the list of checks and all funds in the amount of $192,600. Did you write one? I think I would know this drill, right, Mr. Gallagher? I move to approve the list of checks and all funds in the amount of $192,657.78, and further move to authorize payment of the same.
Second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Next is 2 zoning hearing board applications.
You have 2 zoning hearing board applications this evening. Both are business commercial. The first one is at the Horsham Point Shopping Center, which is 314 Horsham Road. If you're familiar with the shopping center, CVS has been out of the shopping center for a few years, and it's next door to Giant. So the application has to deal with the vacant CVS location in that shopping center. And it's a use issue, so they are looking to put a Mavis tire store there, Mavis Discount Tire, and which is not permitted in our C1 shopping center district. So they're looking for a use variance to have that store locate there. And the applicant is here this evening to present their application.
Good evening. Do you mind if I
No,
take this
go
off just so you can all hear me? I'm used to the table, so. Do you need me on the microphone?
Yeah, you got to
as
be
well?
right up there.
Okay, great. Good evening. Rob Lewis from Kaplan Stewart. I represent Kimco and Kimco Horsham LP, who's the owner of the shopping center. Mr. Walker generally summarized the application, but I'll give you a little bit more background to it. Great. The rendering eventually, I think, will be wonderful, but for now, the shopping center, I think most people are pretty familiar with shopping center. It's a bit unique the way it sits, surrounded by roadways, sitting up on the bluff, really up on the hill. It is a grocery-anchored shopping center, anchored with the Giant, and we have experienced some significant vacancy, particularly on this corner. It's been a troublesome corner since CVS left. We were lucky enough that Mavis actually had approached us and was interested in the space. If you're not familiar with Mavis Discount Tires, they're pretty much everywhere. What's interesting for Kimco and so forth, and I think for this application, is they fit very well in inline grocery-anchored shopping centers. In fact, you run down Limekiln Pike, George's supermarket in Upper Dublin has a Mavis in that shopping center, which is similar size, similar nature to Horsham Point. So we do believe that, generally speaking, it's a use that is consistent with our shopping center. We initially actually requested a zoning change of use permit because we do believe that it is a permitted use. Unfortunately for us, that was denied. The basis of that is that there is some case law, which I won't bore you with. I'm sure your solicitor will provide you any info you want. But our basis for that belief is that there is case law that says if you are a retail operation, if the principal use is retail, selling of tires, selling of brakes, selling of the other auto parts, that the installation of those can be considered accessory, or is to be considered accessory. I was actually involved in that original case and went through the Commonwealth Court, where the Commonwealth Court decided that where you have a principal use of retailing goods, the installation can be accessory. The court basically said, but for the sale of the retail goods, there's no need for the installation. And as long as you meet that test, it is accessory. And that's really what Mavis is. Mavis is tire sales. They do sell batteries and brakes and a few other automotive parts, and they then install those parts. You can't go to TireRack.com, order 4 new tires, show up at Mavis and say, throw these on my car. Their real use is to sell the product and then install it for you. So we have appealed that determination or that denial of the permit because we do believe that it's permitted. In the alternative, we're requesting the variance. And we'll put testimony on why we think it's consistent with the shopping center and some of the challenges that we have faced. So that's our application generally. I'm happy to try and answer any questions that council may have, any questions, any concerns.
So how would the building change?
This is, the physical space obviously does not, but again, so what you see in the rendering is the roll-up doors that you need for those vehicles to be able to be serviced would actually face back towards the back side, that back left corner of the center, whereas the retail front would front in a similar manner as Giant and the rest of the center, trying to make it the most retail appearance facing the center like everything else, with the doors facing off to the side/back area. If you know that area, there's retaining walls on a couple of sides. It's a very hidden portion of the center, so to the extent that there is the lack of desire to see those roll-up doors, they certainly are facing away from the main portion of the center. Part of the trouble with this space in terms of leasing has been the fact that it has no visibility. It lacks visibility from there. You have no street frontage. With the topography, obviously, you can't see where CVS was generally driving around the streets. So that has certainly been a leasing challenge. But again, to the extent that somebody thought that maybe Mavis wasn't what they wanted to look at, it is tucked away back in that corner of the center.
Aesthetically, it looks horrible, just as in my opinion, because it doesn't match any of the rest of the shopping center at all. I do have an issue with, one, noise, two, access in and out of that shopping center is already troublesome at different times during the day, and I can't see this helping situation at all, especially coming out onto Horsham Road. If you can, is that okay? That's what I like, oh, there it goes. Especially coming in and out of Horsham Road. It's, and I live down that way, so it's a bit of a nightmare. So, those are my two biggest objections. I'm not sure if anybody else has anything.
Mary, the variance on Green.
You gotta get right up on it.
I'm right up on it.
It's working now. Okay. Mary, the variance or the zoning issue is a use issue.
They're asking for an interpretation of the ordinance as well as a use variance if the zoning hearing board doesn't accept the interpretation that they are a retail use.
And what's your position on this?
My position is that they are not a retail use. They have 8 bays to install tires. I
Right.
think that's very persuasive that they're not just selling the sale of tires.
And why is that persuasive that they're not selling the sale of tires because of the number of bays?
Because that's an awful lot of doing things to your car.
Yeah.
And the actual retail components, other than tires, are one rack of air fresheners, and it's very, very limited.
It is tires, it is brakes, things that aren't necessarily going to sit out in the lobby that you're going to peruse. You're going to walk in there knowing that you need tires.
It's
and
an
you need
auto
brakes.
repair.
It's not a Pep Boys.
No, it is absolutely not. You can't go in there and get all the stuff to wash your car and things like that. They're limited to, they sell things that they can put on your car.
So how's that different from any other auto repair shop that is solely auto repair, like the old mom and pop auto repair shops we used to see on the corners that you'd go in and they'd say, Mr. Gallagher, you need 4 new tires? And I say, okay, give me 4 new tires, and they put the 4 new tires on it.
Exactly. That it's not. It's an auto repair facility.
Anybody else?
No, I'm opposed for the same reasons. I don't think it belongs. I don't think that use belongs in that shopping center. And if it's not permitted now, I'm not looking to change it, so it is.
So it says you sell brakes, batteries, wipers, and exhaust systems. Does that mean that you guys would do the installation for those?
Correct. All of the items that are sold in store would then be installed for the customers.
Okay, so if somebody had a brake issue and you need to flush the lines, you guys are going to would do that sort of service for them as well?
Correct.
Thank you.
Well, I'm following the solicitor's interpretation on the use, and I think the township's position, what's staff's recommendation?
Same as our denial letter, we are opposed, we're opposed, it's not a permitted use in that zoning district.
And I don't see this as one that we could apply conditions to that would somehow make the use acceptable because it's based on your interpretation, so I'm opposed.
So we have 3 opposed, 4 opposed?
I'm opposed too.
Like you have 5 opposed here.
We understand your position. Thank you.
Okay. Now,
That's a
Yeah,
policy decision.
yeah, do you guys think we should send a letter or send Mary to the zoning hearing board?
Personally, I think we should send there.
I think so as well.
I didn't hear it.
You want to send Mary or send a letter?
Said Mary.
Send Mary. Mary, you free that night?
I had it written down.
Okay, thank you. All right, next is split lane cycles.
So this is also a business commercial. It's in our I-2 zoning district. This location is on 611, next door to the Chapman Ford. So it's also with a busted knuckle auto repair. Right here is the building here. So back in 2017, this auto repair business is not a permitted use in our zoning district. In 2017, they went to the zoning hearing board. They were granted a use variance to operate their business there with a condition that there's no sales on the site, that it's strictly auto repair, detailing, but no sales. And Busted Knuckle is a tenant, they're not a property owner, but they would, Busted Knuckle Auto Repair would like to sublease a certain square footage, I don't know what the square footage is off the top of my head, but a certain square footage of their property to Split Lane Cycles, which is a motorcycle repair and sales. So what they're asking is, from the zoning hearing board, is to remove that condition that was placed upon them in 2017 for sales, and also allow this operation to occur that is not permitted by our zoning ordinance in I-2, which is motorcycle repair and sales.
How does the map already say Split Lane Cycles motorcycle dealer?
I don't, our assistant zoning officer is in Florida, so I did not have the opportunity to talk with him prior. I don't know how it came to be, if someone reported it to us. I don't know if they were in business.
They're already doing this?
I don't know that. Their sign,
Isn't this Google Maps?
this is Google Maps, and their sign is out front. I could not confirm if they're in business there, or if our code enforcement called it. I don't know. Is the applicant here? Are you the applicant? So,
So are they asking permission or begging forgiveness?
They, probably a little bit of both. They were called this evening to be here this evening, and they are not. Just to let you know, this, where staff's opinion and recommendation is to be opposed to this application also.
So, it's not a permitted use. We
It is
put the
not.
restrictions on them years ago.
2017.
For the original, with a busted knuckle, and now they want to sublease,
Which they may already be doing.
which they already may be doing. So I'm definitely opposed to this, but I guess my question
If
is,
they're already doing it, should we put a cease and desist?
what are we?
Again, our person's on vacation, and I just didn't get a chance to ask him all the details, but we'll follow up. That might already be happening, but that's not instantaneous.
Right.
A cease and desist, that takes some time to do.
Well, sure, and I think you need us to tell you that
Yeah.
we're opposed to this in order to proceed further. So I'm asking everyone how they feel. Down, 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 down. Okay, so you have 5 people down, opposed. So why don't we see what's going on with that, especially since it's showing up and they do have a sign outside.
Yes.
And that's another reason
Yeah.
to.
I would assume our code enforcement is probably on top of it. I just.
Right, and I,
Our director's out on COVID positive, and our assistant zoning officer is on vacation, so didn't get all the details before the meeting.
I think they should have come to us first.
I agree.
All right, so we're sending Mary to this one as well?
Should be there anyway.
You're going to be there. 2 for 1 night. All right, thank you. Next is consider a co-applicant agreement for the highway occupancy permit for Hallmark.
So a number of years ago, probably about, at this point, probably almost 10 years ago, for Terry and Mr. Wade's benefit, PennDOT put on a regulation that if a new development ties into their storm sewer system, that the municipality that gives that development approval takes on the obligation and responsibility and maintenance of that storm sewer system, unless you get the developer to sign a co-applicant agreement and set up an escrow with the township. So we've been doing that ever since PennDOT switched their policy, and we haven't had any issues. So Rominalo, which is Oak Ridge, single-family home development at County Line and Keith Valley, that already has final land development back in November from the Township Council, and they're getting their permits now in place with PennDOT, and they have to tie into PennDOT storm sewer system on County Line Road. So in order for them to do that, we have to allow their engineer to submit the permit to do that, but they've also agreed to enter into the co-applicant agreement where they take on the responsibility and maintenance of the system, and they post an escrow with us that we get, and if they don't maintain the system in the future, we use their escrow monies to then repair the system, the storm sewer system.
Okay. So there's another item that follows this, is for the authorizing the application for the highway occupancy permit. So they kind of run hand in hand. So we're going to have two separate motions, correct?
Yes, sir.
You don't need any further explanation for that item, right?
No, sir.
All right, so there's two motions. One's a voice vote, one's a roll call vote, so we'll do them separately.
I move to authorize the co-applicant agreement for the highway occupancy permit for stormwater facilities as part of the Hallmark Building Group, Inc., 1001 County Line Road, 20-09-D, Land Development Plan.
Second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
I move to adopt the resolution as proposed, authorizing the application for a highway occupancy permit for stormwater facilities as part of the Hallmark Building Group, Inc., 1001 County Line Road, 20-09-D Land Development Plan.
Moved in second, and this is a roll call vote.
Ms. Harmon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Nesbitt, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Wade, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, next is consider a resolution appointing delegates for the Montgomery County Tax Collection Committee.
So again, just as benefit to Ms. Harmon and Mr. Wade, a number of years ago, the state changed the collection system of the earned income tax, and it went to a county-wide system rather than local collection. So it was Act 32 that changed that, and that created the Montgomery County Tax Collection Committee. And there's I think about 67 taxing jurisdictions between school districts and municipalities in the county that are members of this committee. They do have an executive board, and most of the time it's the finance directors, the tax collectors, the township managers that are appointed to this committee. It used to be myself and Rich Sable. We no longer have Rich with us, so we had to update the resolution. They only accept name changes by resolution only. Also, what changed since the last time we did this was they allow two alternates now. So instead of just one voting delegate and one alternate, they have one voting and two delegates. So what's in front of you, recommended for your consideration, this is to keep myself as the voting delegate and add Tasha, our new finance director, as the alternate, and also Dennis Haggerty as another alternate delegate.
Any questions? If not, do we have a motion?
Move to appoint William Gildea Walker as voting delegate and Tasha Odom and Dennis Haggerty as alternate voting delegates to the Montgomery County Tax Collection Committee as per Act 32.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. This is a roll call vote.
Ms. Harmon, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Nesbitt, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Wade, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Whiteside, how do you vote?
I vote aye.
And Mr. McCouch, how do you vote?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Next is consider a pump and haul agreement for the Regency at Waterside.
This is normal with a large-scale development like the Regency at Waterside, which is the old Limecoat Golf Course that Toll Brothers is building. So until they get their whole water and sewer system, but primarily sewer system in place, there's a certain stage, a certain phase that they have to have a pump and haul. And the agreement tonight, and Eric and Mary can elaborate on that if anyone has any further questions, but the agreement that you're considering tonight is between the township, Horsham Water and Sewer Authority, and the Regency at Waterside, which is Toll Brothers.
The Water and Sewer Authority actually bears a laboring arm on this. They work out all the details with the applicant to make sure that it's done properly, that it only lasts a certain period of time, so that when they reach a certain volume of flows, they estimate that based on the number of houses sold, that they will switch over to actually operating the plant. So the sewer authority and Terry Funk from Gilmore did those reviews. However, DEP still wants to see municipal approval. So we enter into an agreement, a tri-party agreement between the developer, the township, and the sewer authority to lay out the things that the sewer authority negotiated and to give our approval. Eric, did you?
Sounds good.
All right, Eric gave the thumbs up too.
If you have any,
No, I'm here from Toll Brothers if anybody has any questions.
I mean, this is, I remember we did this for English Village shops. It's pretty standard.
It's very standard.
I move to authorize execution of a pump and haul agreement with Regency at Waterside and Horsham Water and Sewer Authority in substantially the same form as the agreement in the packet, and further to send a letter of sponsorship as described in the agreement, provided that both the agreement and the letter shall be in the form satisfactory to the Horsham Water and Sewer Authority.
Second.
Been moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Before I ask for adjournment, I just announce that we are going to, after this meeting is over, we are going to adjourn into executive session on matters of real estate. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone.